Hello everyone, it's week 15, also known as the semifinals of the Michigan Ultimate Survivor League. Sorry. We're almost there. We're halfway through the playoffs. Some great games last week. Some upsets. Everyone thought Vic in a Box was a sure win to make it to the finals and win this league based on who he had not played so far. Troy pulling it out on you. Pulled it out. That's what he says he's going to do. He comes in and wins, beating him 75-67. We'll go over last week's quarterfinal games as well as look at this week's semifinal games as we make the road to the championship. Let's get it going. All right, sure enough, we are halfway there. 4 rounds of the playoffs. 2 of them are down. 2 rounds to go. 4 teams survive. This is the MUSL Final Four. And in case you missed it, here's what happened last week. The Gambler defeated Tallywhackers. The Gambler, number 1 overall seed, defeated the Tallywhackers by a score of 54-42. Beast Mode, fresh out of that lottery pick, although he did win 7 games this year, I believe, defeated the Sagnasty Notch Above Top Notches 79-49. Troy pulling out on you 75, number 2 seed Vic in a Box 67, and then TDs and Beers, fantastic run of a 2013 season finally comes to an end. He was number 1 most of the year. He kind of backed into the playoffs, and then he beat Riverside 2 weeks ago. Last week he lost to William Shatner Face by a score of 60-31. So it draws up the Final Four like this. The number 1 seed overall, the Gambler, will be facing Beast Mode. And at the bottom of the bracket, Troy pulling out on you will be playing William Shatner Face. Winners of that move on to the finals. The semifinals this year, is actually very important because we have established that there will be a 3rd place prize. So two questions. Who will move on to the finals? And also, out of these 4 teams, which team will not win anything aside from what they may have already won for winning their division, okay? So yes, the winners of these 2 games will move on to the finals, going for the $500 grand prize and the $250 second place prize, or $200. And then 3rd place is determined by the losers of these 2 games, will face off next week as well for the 3rd place $50 prize. So 3 out of these 4 teams are going to get money. The question is how much money? So what I'm going to do now is I went through and looked at who started for what team and kind of given a quick look at, who essentially has the best players left, if you wanted to know. I swapped my hand on the car door today, so I'm in severe pain here. So let's look at the Gambler versus Beast Mode. What I did was I totaled up the total number of points the players they have scored for year by position. This, of course, means that if you started a player like Michael Vick, who got a lot of points early and then didn't play at all, this is going to hurt you. But I also have it averaged out on how many points the average starting player scored. So, realistically, at this point, you want lower numbers because that means theoretically your highest point players haven't played yet. So, breaking it down here. The Gambler at quarterback position has scored 2,019 points. Compared to Beast Mode's 2,117 points. So, essentially, the Gambler has not used as good of players as Beast Mode has. So, if we were going to award points like we did last week, that would be 1 point for the Gambler, 0 points for Beast Mode. The Gambler's running backs have totaled 1,961 points, compared to Beast Mode 1,748 points. That is over 200 points difference for the players that the Gambler has used. So that is a big swing towards Beast Mode, having better players left to use here. So knotted up at 1. And then talk about close wide receivers. The Gamblers players have totaled 1,982 points. Beast Mode 1,992 points. Now, interestingly enough, though, the averages on that Gamblers players have averaged 6.38 points per game. Beast Mode's only 5.03 points per game. So realistically, I'm going to give the edge to the Gambler on that. Tight ends, this is not really important. 852 for the Gambler, 810 for the Beast Mode, but tight ends are just so hit or miss. I'll give a half a point to the Beast Mode on that one. Kickers, same thing. Actually, 100 points separate him. Gambler has scored 997 points. Beast Mode 1,097. So we'll give a half point to the Gambler on that one. And then defenses. The defenses, Gambler have scored 1,442 points. Beast Mode 1,592 points. So 150 more points scored by Beast Mode's defenses. So that, in theory, means that Beast Mode has used better defenses man, that hurts, as time has gone on. So when you total everything up, I mean, realistically, according to our formula here, Gambler essentially wins 4 positions. The Beast Mode only wins 2. But the Beast Mode's been hot, and including in the wide receiver position, I know he has got a lot of wide receivers. We'll go over that in a minute. Total it up. The Gambler's total points by all the players he started is 9,253. Beast Mode 9,356. I'm calling it. Gambler, number 1 seed, will probably win this game. So he will move on to the finals in my prediction. Now, he did have a good game over the Tallywhackers last week. So, who knows if the hot streak will continue. The rest certainly helped him. It did not, however, help Vic in a Box, who was the number 2 seed. He lost to Troy pulling out on you. Same formula here, going up. This is where it gets kind of scary when you look at the numbers of quarterback. Anyway, he's going up against William Shatnerface in the semifinals game. Okay, Troy pulling it out on you. His team quarterbacks that he started has scored a ridiculously low 1,882 points, compared to William Shatnerface, who has scored 2,289 points. So that is a pretty alarming statistic right there. Something that, I mean, clearly Troy has not been playing all of the best players, no doubt about it. Let me just look on here real quick. I gotta check something real quick. That is definitely not the right formula. I just gotta check something real quick. Sorry, I had an error in my formula. Gotta fix that. And I probably gotta fix this one too. 104. That is correct. Okay. So that would be a huge win. I would say almost 2 points. I mean, I would give him. I mean, because that's a 400-point swing there. And if you compare Troy's quarterbacks to the top 2, I mean, that's still 200 points less than the Gambler, pretty much. When you break down running backs, you're at 21.77 for Troy, 21.56 for William. Very similar there. I'm going to give the edge to William in that one, though. Wide receivers, Troy, only 1,932, which is the lowest out of all of these, by the way. And William, 2,181, which is the highest out of all of these. Tight end, 746 for Troy. He has not used a lot of players. William, 852, also tied for the highest with Gambler. So things are not looking good here for William Shatnerface. Kickers, we're going to give a half a point because of the 50-point difference there, not a huge deal. Defense, though. The defenses is where there's a sizable difference here. The defenses that Troy has used has scored 2,042 points, whereas the defenses that William Shatnerface has used is a ridiculously low 1,567 points. Yeah, that's nothing. Doesn't really make sense to me, but whatever. So, when all's said and done, it looks like, according to our calculations, that Troy pulling out on you will certainly win this category, this game as well. So, ultimately, when you look at it from the pure numbers standpoint, I mean, Troy's got a pretty sizable gain on it. So I'm calling that Troy pulling out on you will defeat William Shatnerface, and that the Gambler will defeat Beast Mode, according to my calculations. Now, talking about players, just real quick, and I'm not going to go through and see who hasn't started who, but just some interesting things I'm noticing here. Out of the Final Four teams that are left, in terms of defenses, only 2 defenses have been started by all 4 players. And those defenses would be the Arizona Cardinals, who single-handedly helped people win last week with a 20-point performance, mind you. And also the Miami Dolphins, which is interesting. worthy of note, and I'm not going to say who, but only 3 of the teams have started the Chiefs. So one of these teams has the Chiefs in their reserve for either this week or next week. Only 3 of the teams have started the Panthers, and only 3 of the teams have started the Seahawks. So those are 3 very dominant defenses, though the Panthers would certainly not have you think that the way they played last week. So in terms of quarterbacks, which is the main draw that people are interested in, the 4 teams have started Tom Brady. The 4 teams have started Phillip Rivers. The 4 teams have started Tony Romo. Okay? So those 3 players have already been used by everyone, so they will not be performing the rest of the year. In terms of who started 3 of these players, I mean, there's a lot of people who have been started by 3 of these teams. Drew Brees, only been started by 3 teams. Colin Kaepernick, only been started by 3 teams. Andrew Luck, good luck with that one, only been started by 3 teams. Eli Manning, only been started by 3 teams. Peyton Manning, only started by 3 teams. Cam Newton, only been started by 3 teams. Matthew Stafford, only been started by 3 teams. And Russell Wilson, only been started by 3 teams. So, Newton, Wilson, the Mannings, Breeze, there's a lot of Matthew Stafford. I mean, there's a lot of big-ticket guys out there who have not been started by everyone. So there's going to be some big-name quarterbacks coming out this next couple weeks. In terms of running backs, there's so many running backs and receivers to go through. I'm just going to highlight some of the bigger ones. Jamal Charles started by everyone. Matt Forte started by everyone. LaShawn McCoy, Noshawn Moreno, DeMarco Murray, all 4 have been started by everyone. People have been started by 3, and Zach Stacy. Sorry, Zach Stacy also, who's been a big start late in the year. In terms of 3 teams, players have been started by 3 out of the 4 teams. There's a slew of them. Most notably, unfortunately for Troy pulling it out on you, Adrian Peterson has only been started by 3 teams, has not started by Troy pulling it out on you, and I doubt he's starting him this week either. Marshawn Lynch has only been started by 3 teams. Reggie Bush by 3 teams. Le'Veon Bell by 3 teams. Trent Richardson by 3 teams. Hey, there's waste. Well, that's really about the significant ones. A lot of people have been started. Alfred Morris only started by 2 teams, really? MJD started by 3 teams. Fred Jackson started by 2 teams. Giovanni Bernard started by 2 teams. I mean, yeah. So we'll have some big-name running backs left. Wide receivers, Justin Blackmon started by all 4 teams. Victor Cruz, Josh Gordon, Deshaun Jackson, and Vincent Jackson. Andre Johnson, Jordy Nelson. Those players have been started by all 4 teams. Interestingly enough, the following people have not been. Dez Bryant started by 3 teams. Antonio Brown started by 3 teams. Marcus Colston started by 3 teams. Eric Decker started by 2 teams. Larry Fitzgerald started by 3 teams. A.J. Green started by 3 teams. Alshon Jeffrey started by 3 teams. Someone's got him coming, and it's going to be hard. He's on fire. Calvin Johnson started by 2 teams, so he's definitely coming out. Brandon Marshall started by 3 teams. How are these people making it this far without starting these people is what I want to know. Demaryius Thomas started by 3 teams. And Wes Welker started by 3 teams. So, gives you a little preview in terms of, who's been started, where you're sitting. I'm not saying who started who, except for in the case of Adrian Peterson, because he's obviously not going to get started this week. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Not a lot to talk about because there's only 2 games this week, obviously. But now, don't forget, 3rd place game is worth $50. So it is important, even if you lose this week, to submit a lineup next week for you guys. Nobody else. Although we are going to have a Week 17 bonus round of some sort. If you guys want to pay attention to that, we're going to have a test run on how the lineups will work next year, where you're going to be able to start players on Thursday. You lock them in. So if you want to start someone on Thursday, you can. If you do not want to start someone on Thursday, this is next year, by the way. Okay, this is not this week. This is not this year. Week 17, this will start. So don't do this now, players in the semifinals. You will be able to start players on Thursday if you want, or you can wait until Sunday to start, but then obviously you can't play the players on Thursday. And the lineups will be hidden until Sunday. So that's what it'll be like. We're going to give that a test next week, Week 17, and I'll bring that up again. So hopefully everyone comes back to the league for that last week. We'll have some type of bonus round just for kicks. But that's it. Good luck to the 4 teams that are left, and we will talk to you later. Have a good one.